mobile is an easy gadget in the hands of our youngsters, even toddlers. And that's playing a very important role in their lives today, where one parent will be always there with the child. Today, this education meant a lot. But I look backwards today and say how God forms their life. Also, parents make time to talk to their children. But the family has to be involved. Teach one, take courage, help one, and that will build up a very good community in the family. So, to build up the trust, build up a trust and hope. It's very beautifully said. A family that prays together stays together.
Welcome to Faith Filtered.
Hello everyone and welcome to Faith Filtered. I'm Sarita and today we have a very special guest with us. It's none other than Father Merwyn. For many of us, Father Merwyn has been more than a priest. He is a family friend who has journeyed with us over the years. Father Merwyn has dedicated 37 years of service to the church as a principal, a parish priest, and now at the clergy home in Bangalore. Today, we are reflecting on the lives of Saints Anne and Saint Joachim, who were the parents of Mary and the grandparents of Jesus. Long before social media influencers, Saints Anne and Saint Joachim shaped generations through their faith, values, and unwavering trust in God. Well, thank you for joining us today, and let's dive into this conversation regarding faith, family, influence, and shaping the next generation.
Welcome, I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Father, do you think social media influencers have replaced parents and grandparents today?
In a certain sense, I would say yes, and also a no. Of course, we are living in a digital age where things are happening very fast, very quickly. And so you see how parents really take a back seat because the mobile is an easy gadget in the hands of our youngsters, even toddlers. And that's playing a very important role in their lives today because it's not that they can only get things here and now, but they get things also of the future and many other things that they would like to have in their domain.
We often say that Mary changed the world because someone first formed her at home. In today's world, who do you think is shaping the next generation the most?
It's true, Mary was shaped along with the beautiful parents she had in Joachim and Anne. And even today, parents can and are capable of shaping their children. But sad to say, because of the scenario that will keep changing, the parents have to work for a living, and therefore both parents are working, so the grandparents take over looking after children. So in some way it is mainly the grandparents, or some way down the line, some parents who sacrifice one of them as being in the home, look after the children. So I would say in a way, like I wish it could be a possibility where one parent will be always there with the child. The circumstances, situations have changed.
Father, when you look back on your own life, what is the one lesson that you remember, about your parents and grandparents, which has stayed with you till today?
Well, I had a father who was illiterate and a mother who was trained up to fourth standard. Because in those days, little education meant a lot. So it was my mother who taught my father to speak in English and write, which is most shocking to say. His handwriting surpasses even mine. And of course, we only spoke English at home, where we had a Marathi background. So I hardly knew much of Marathi. When I look at my father as a person, he was the one to get up for mass in the morning. When I look up at him and say, "Can I come?" he would jump off of bed fast and we would go. And along with him would be my mother, my youngest brother. And of course, after the mass was over, we'd go down for a cup of tea with malpua. Didn't know what was malpua then, but we had longingly had a treat. And I enjoyed those days, and perhaps as I look today, that was a form of my vocation, which I perhaps never realized then, but I look backwards today and say, how God forms your life. Mom, as a person, I would say, was a very beautiful person, very tolerant, very patient, very persevering, and very loving. And most of what I have today is because of her, because she was one there with us most of the time. Whether it was food or no food, she made ends meet and made us realize the value of life, values in itself, and value of loving people and being one in unity and harmony.
But today's parents often feel pressured to give the best of everything. So, Father, what is more difficult? Giving children everything they want or teaching them something that they really need?
When we look at both parts of it, let's see this way. Parents need to give the children all what they need. But what other needs are very important, because if mother is busy, then she finds keeping the child busy with a mobile phone, with a cartoon, that becomes perhaps a little off track. But as I say, the parents know what difficulties they face in their life and how they will cope with it. But giving what they really deserve in life are values, especially ethical ones, where parents need to talk to them, share stories. Not only from the Bible, there are so many beautiful other stories of great people in life that will help a great deal. Also, the parents make time to talk to their children, share with them, give them a kind of the feel attitude or bring out their emotions. Not just to say, now shall I be quiet, I got no time, I'm busy with my work. But more than that, they can say, like, okay, sweetheart, wait for some time, I will get time and we will discuss the thing together. Even at the table, when they're having their food, there's certain things we talked about. If perhaps the food is not all that tasty, then perhaps they can ask for feedback. Can we all get together and prepare a dish? And that will build up the family attitudes and morale very strongly. Not just that the mother is in the kitchen, the father has to make money and the children can have their time, but the family has to be involved. Each one teach one, take courage, help one, and that will build up a very good community in the family.
For the previous generations, they usually they stayed in a joint family, and these days we are finding that more of our families are in a nuclear setup. So, what have we gained and what have we lost?
Well, look at today the joint family. When I look back both of the generations today, the joint family was of great help. If a child was in the family, there were the elders, the grandparents, there were also the other aunts and uncles. In spite of the ups and downs, all the odds and the fights, whatever they had, but they took care of the youngsters. So the youngsters got a kind of upbringing if parents were not there. Even if mother died, someone was there to bring up the children in some way or the other. There was a lot of push both emotionally, psychologically, socially, emotionally, economically, when pushed the family to be together. But of course, as time passed on, the nuclear family came into large because people had to find work. Having many children in the joint family was a great help, but when you get the nuclear family, it was difficult to cope with situations. Up to the 70s or maybe up to the early 80s, there were joint families staying together, but then of course we found it difficult to manage in one small room coming to the city life. And that is where we see the difference today. Well, even a nuclear family has pros in that. We look at how the family, the mother, father, and the children can really cope, be with one another, care for each other. But sad to say now, monetary importance comes in the way, where the parents have to go to work, the children are left on their own. Who would care for them? So I would say there are pros and cons of both aspects. But I look at the joys in the joint family more than the nuclear family. Also today in the modern generation, when it comes to nuclear family, it's sad to say, couples will say, we cannot afford to have children, because bringing up children is very and highly expensive. And so some take the option of having no children. Then I will ask you, what is the purpose of marriage?
Now, Father, let's move to a quick rapid fire round. Family prayer or personal prayer?
Family prayer. Yeah, I look first at family prayer is more important because it brings the family together. It's very beautifully said, a family that prays together stays together. But personal prayer can be also important, and I would give more importance to family because that is what we're talking about, building up the family together.
One value every parent should teach.
Love, sincerity, and honesty.
Okay. One habit that strengthens faith.
Humility.
A Bible verse every family should remember.
A family that prays together stays together.
Many children today grow up without the presence of their parents and grandparents these days. So, Father, what is your opinion? How can we become the Anne and Joachim in someone's life?
Well, becoming Anne and Joachim in someone's life, there's a little bit of a danger. On the other way, also there is happiness. Like if parents are not there, the teacher plays a second role in the life of the child. Whether it's school or of Sunday school, where we can play a very important role of supporting these children in making them understand the importance of their parents in their life. Even though the parents were not there or not there with them, they are gone there to fend for them. And therefore, to understand, if your parents would not give have money or whatever they could give, then how would you manage your life? If perhaps the children are orphans, this is where it will be a very important role where all of us will take a role of supporting a child in our own community, in our own neighborhood, of being with them. Even if they were in a boarding school or maybe around with their aunt and uncle, we could all chip in, but there's a danger. Others may ask why you're interfering with the life of certain difficulties or problems that may come in the way. But we can all learn to build as a community and put up the spirit to say that we are responsible as a social background down there to bring up the child in some way or the other. What you cannot do, we can help you out with it. But if they refuse, we cannot do anything about it.
Yeah. But if Saint Anne and Saint Joachim were there in today's podcast, what message do you think they would want every Catholic family to hear?
Looking at the life of Saint Joachim and how they brought up Mary and their mother in a very beautiful way, knowing it was God's will. So first is fear of God, meant to say the respect part of it. On the other hand, is also to understand what it means to give to our elders, because what we do, or what the elders would do, in turn, the youngsters would imitate. And I'm sure Joachim and also advise us very strongly. That is, even if the times have changed, things are still the same. Parents remain the same. The parents, grandparents remain as grandparents. God remains as God. That doesn't ever change.
So like, how we your values are taught, not
Yes.
taught. So, great.
Another would be also to build up the trust, build up a trust and hope. Because this is what's lacking in the world of today.
Another one last question. What is the real of life today?
When I look at real of life, not with a number of years, but to say how going to be a priest was a real great fulfillment for me. Though at the time when I first said I didn't want to be a priest, so many opposition saying, those who say that become priests will get married first. But I knew that wrong. Joining the priesthood has brought so much of changes, not only to me, but to so many people around. Being able to touch lives. I've worked in about, this is not to brag, but I worked in 10 parishes and now at Clergy Home. Each parish that I went to has a different flavor. I learned a lot, I gave a lot, and I got a lot from each one of them. Whether it was young children, whether it was the youth, it was the adults, or the seniors, I realized each one had something to do in my life to shape my priesthood today. I still have some youngsters I met when they were that time 9 and 10, to be married men and having children who are more than 15, 16, 18 years married and having their own children. And we met as a union. It was a beautiful experience to see how families have grown. As being a parent, I can never be a parent, let me say, because I worked both as a priest, as a teacher, as a principal, and that's when I realized how something that the children missed was got into school. When I took over the role of a parent, I began to support them, to help them be. One good example I could see was about a young boy, a marriage to a Hindu, and class would just look at me, one of the tourist which I had. And every time I would come opposite the church, stand there and wait to see me on the terrace because I loved in gardening. And he'd wait just to wave out and go. I shut it off and say, okay, it's part of life. But suddenly he started coming very often to meet. I left the parish, and then he had to get down to another, this was the middle school. So he had to go to a bigger school where he got admission in a secondary school. He passed off his 9th, he failed his 9th, and because of a girlfriend. And then he comes to me when I started at NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. I want to do my SSC as a usual student because you're wasting your time, you're only fooling. But I want to do. I enrolled him down there, then again he played his truants. But he kept getting the examinations. He turned around and says, I will give all 6 papers. I said, you're not going to give him 6. Give me 3 now, 3 next. I called for his brother and explained. He looked at the brother and says, you don't interfere with my life. I will do what I want to do. We allowed him to do his SSC. He got 58%. He joined Elphiston College, did very well there, but 12th standard he failed again because of a girl. He leaves college. I was in another school and he comes one day in the afternoon. I want a job in the hotel. Goodness me. You think, oh, your papa will help you jobs, will give me jobs. But it's one had determination, he had the skill and the will, and he says, only you can help me out. That evening I got one of the men working at Marine Plaza as a new chef. And he said, Father, give me 3 boys and I will train them to be chefs. It was as if the voice was on the answer. I called for him, and the boy was named under Mr. I forget his name now. But he took two boys under him. Both the boys were doing so well. One is on the ship, married, having a child, and this boy turned out to work first on the ship. He got homesick. He came back and said, I can't work on the ship. I said, what am I supposed to do? Give me a hotel. I said, I don't have any hotels, I don't possess one. Finally, he got a job in the Ambanis. And today he's doing so well. He's got houses of his own. He's married, he's got a child, looking after his mother, looking after the family. And he owes his gratitude more to me, but I don't want that. I would say, you have the will, you have the power, and you can do well. So I have many other children like that. One most I like would be of getting children who are fantasies, half a brain being deformed, or children with a heart problem, children with a kidney that were there. I admitted them in school, hoping that they would grow, even Down syndrome. And look at these children inculcated in inclusion in school, help the children to realize beautifully like those are children who are gifted or special. We are not so special, we may be normal, but that what a merge. And I realized that achieves lives. Accepting people the way they are, making people happy. So this is my mission was like to give more to the fullest, not expecting anything in return. And of course there are these ups and downs that comes in life. If I learn to accept it, I can help others to accept it as well. And that's what we move on. Jesus says, weak and humble of heart makes us better in life. And that's been my motto.
Father, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. As we celebrate Saints Anne and Saint Joachim, may we remember that every conversation, every value, every prayer that we do is shaping the next generation. Stay tuned everyone for our next episode on Faith Filtered.